All right, let's just jump right in. If you're a trader, you've probably been trained to believe that speed is everything. You know, fast entries, fast exits, lightning-fast decisions. The whole idea is you gotta move before that window of opportunity slams shut. But what if that instinct, that constant drive for speed, isn't an edge at all? What if it's the very thing that's holding you back?
I mean, really think about that for a second. That little voice in your head, the one that pipes up and asks, hey, wait, is this setup actually good? Does it even meet my rules? We've been taught, conditioned by the market, by the whole culture of fast money, to just shut that voice down. We see it as hesitation, as weakness, but it's not. That second thought is the only part of your brain that's actually trying to protect you, and we're going to learn how to start listening to it.
So yeah, we have to completely reframe this whole obsession with speed. This isn't some natural skill you were born with, it's a flaw you were trained to have. The entire market environment, from your flashing trading platforms to what you see on social media, it's all designed to make you act first and think later. It's a manufactured impulse, and it's an incredibly dangerous one.
Now, listen to the words on this slide, System 1 and System 2. This isn't just some clever phrasing somebody made up. It actually points to a well-established model of how our brains work, especially when we're under pressure. That rush you feel, that sense of urgency, that's a huge sign that one of these systems has basically hijacked your decision-making before your rational mind even had a chance to speak up.
This whole framework comes from the Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, and honestly, it's one of the most powerful tools you can have for understanding why on earth we make the decisions we do. He basically proposed that our minds have two totally distinct operating systems, and each one has its own specific job.
So on one side, you've got System 1. This is your gut reaction. It's super fast, it's automatic, it's emotional. It loves to match patterns from things it's seen before. Then, on the other side, you've got System 2. Think of this as your inner analyst. It's slow, it's deliberate, it's logical. This is the part of you that actually follows a checklist instead of just running on a feeling. Now, most of the time, we're just cruising on System 1, and that's totally fine for, everyday life. But for trading, oh, that is a completely different story.
And right here, this is the absolute core of the problem. Financial markets are chaotic, they're complex, they're wildly unpredictable. Your System 1 tries to find patterns in all that mess, but the patterns it thinks it sees are usually just random noise. The scary part is, it gives you this huge jolt of confidence, a really strong impulse to act. But that confidence has absolutely zero connection to whether you're actually right. In this world, speed is really just a faster way to be wrong. Okay, so if the modern go, go, go approach is totally flawed, where do we even look for a better way? Well, we can look to history. We can learn from absolute masters of high-stakes decision-making who understood that real effectiveness doesn't come from being fast, it comes from being precise. This is from Miyamoto Musashi, who was, you could argue, the greatest swordsman who ever lived. He fought in over 60 duels and was never, ever defeated. But here's the thing, he wasn't known for being the fastest. He was known for being the most precise. He knew that a rush to action comes from a panicked mind, and a panicked mind, well, it makes fatal mistakes. He was all about the quality of the action, not how quickly he could do it. So with that wisdom in mind, let's get really clear on our terms. To be fast, in the way we've been talking about, means you're acting before you actually have any clarity. It's just a reaction, driven by that feeling of urgency and emotion, and that's it. But immediate? That's something else entirely. This is the warrior's ideal. It means you act the very instant that clarity finally shows up, with no extra delay from second guessing or hesitation. The difference between these two words is literally everything. One is just jumping the gun. The other is perfect timing. You know, the Stoic philosophers actually had a name for this. They talked about the space between an impression, like you see a signal in the market, and your response to it. For most traders, that space is zero. They see something, they immediately act. But the Stoic and the master trader, they understand that this little space is where all of your skill, all of your judgment actually lives, and we have to learn how to consciously make that space wider. Okay, I know this all sounds great in a philosophy book, but how do we actually do it when the chart is moving a million miles an hour and our heart is pounding? Well, here's the key. You can't just rely on willpower. The pause has to be engineered into your process. It needs to be a mechanical system, not just a vague good intention. And it all starts with one simple number, 4.
Research shows that just 4 seconds is enough time to interrupt that impulsive System 1 and let your slower, more logical System 2 wake up and get in the game. Just 4 seconds, that tiny little window, that's the foundation of your entire edge.
So how do we build this 4-second pause? It's a simple 3-part system. First, a written checklist. And I mean a physical one you have to look at, not one in your head. This forces a mechanical stop. Second, a breath protocol. Just one full inhale and exhale before you click anything. This isn't some mystical stuff, it's pure neuroscience. And third, an urgency audit. That feeling of FOMO, of missing out. You have to train yourself to see that feeling as a giant red flag, a signal to slow down even more, not to speed up.
And this is exactly why this little system is so powerful. The checklist physically forces your analytical brain, your System 2, to get involved. That 4-second exhale literally calms you down on a physiological level. It takes control away from your emotional center, the amygdala, and hands it back to your logic center, the prefrontal cortex. You're basically turning the market's greatest weapon against traders, that feeling of urgency, into your own personal signal to stop and think.
So let's bring this all home. This isn't about being slow just for the sake of being slow. No way. This is a deliberate, powerful, competitive strategy. It's about recognizing the crazy environment you're operating in and choosing the right tool for the job.
Let's be honest, the market is absolutely packed with fast, reactive, System 1 traders. Their speed is the very thing that causes their own losses. You are never, ever going to beat the high-frequency trading algorithms at the game of speed. It's impossible. But you can beat the crowd by doing the one thing they are psychologically and structurally unable to do: pause. That simple, 4-second, checklist-driven, breath-supported pause, that is your real edge.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Go back to the last trade you took. Between that initial impulse you felt, that real urge to just jump in, and the moment you actually clicked the button, how long was your pause? And in that little bit of time, what did you actually check? If the answer is nothing or I don't know, then you know exactly where the work needs to begin. Build the pause. That's the edge.